Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of InFocused. Today we have James Briers with us, who is co-founder and CTO at IDS. James, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Usman. Looking forward to it.
No worries at all. I'll start how we always start, James. From your perspective, what's the most interesting or exciting thing about working in tech at the moment?
I think from my perspective, I mean, even from 23 years I've been involved in tech. There's always been innovation. There's always been something that's coming on that's new that keeps everything moving forward. And from everyone, whether you're a developer, whether you're a tester, whether you're working in data or quality assurance, whatever, project management, there's always something new for you to actually apply yourself to. So it almost forces you to become, constantly and ever improving in from a skills perspective. So to me, for me, it's quite a high level view of what I find exciting. But it's that constant churn of new stuff that's coming through.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, like innovation is going at such a pace now. Is it difficult to keep up, would you say?
I think that if you try to get involved with everything, then absolutely, there's so many different avenues that you can go down, new technologies, there's blockchain, there's AI, there's a dozen other new technologies and features that are coming to the marketplace. So yeah, if you're going to try and boil the ocean and touch on everything, then it would be impossible to keep up. And that's also the beauty of it. Everybody has their own niches and skills that you can apply yourself to. It's the analogy. You wouldn't get a plumber to rewire your house. So that's the beauty of technology is that you can actually follow specialisms, which is great. And again, you become a master of a specialism as opposed to jack of all trades.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll come on to this with IDS because one of the questions I get asked a lot is how do you decide which direction your company goes, and how do you know that you're not missing opportunities versus sticking to a particular specialism and becoming an expert in it. But before all of that, fill us in on for people that don't know you, James, just a little bit about your background and I suppose your journey to where you are today. How did you get into tech to start with?
A little bit of bizarre turn, to be fair. I left school, did an apprenticeship at Ford Motor Company, so I was involved with technical and engineering from school, but it was almost a fallback because my passion was rugby league. I was a professional, semi-professional, if you want, rugby league player for Widnes Vikings. So my path took a little bit of a turn when I got an injury, and I got involved with technology from that perspective. At 24, I think I was, 23, 24, and my career kind of progressed from there really. So I was doing a little bit of IT support, and then I got involved with a friend of the family. He asked me to come and do some work for him down at Microsoft in Thames Valley Park, and that was how I got involved with quality assurance side of things.
So you're originally from a testing background then?
Yeah, that's where I got involved with the software aspect. Before then, I was doing a little bit of IT support, so I had a little bit of hardware as well. But yeah, I mean, it's that was an eye opener. My first role in software testing was at Microsoft, and that was an amazing experience. To work with some of the people who were on those projects down in Reading. Some really exceptionally talented people. So I learned a hell of a lot in them very early years, whilst working down there on some quite high profile projects.
Good. And yeah, I imagine when you start somewhere like a place like Microsoft, it's everywhere else is a bit different, shall we say?
Yeah, I mean, it was lucky really. I mean, I was very fortunate to get the opportunity, and from the get-go in this arena, You know, I was taught best practice, you know, within the Microsoft way. You know, build, deploy, test, and, you know, collaboration between disciplines and all of that sort of stuff. Environments, development, deployment, you know, the whole path really. You know, the whole continuous integration was happening before it was an acronym as CI CD. You know, so it was quite a good early introduction to this way of working, this discipline. Which I continued on, you know, after I ended my tenure and moved on to different opportunities. I continued on with those principles and practices, which have, you know, they've not led me too far wrong. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I was going to say, well, it's the way things are done now, isn't it? So, so certainly a really good grounding in that. So I suppose, you know, going through your roles then in testing, there came a point you decided around 2015, I believe it was, wasn't it? To say yes. As it was then, it may have changed to what it is now. But I suppose in your career, what was it that was the catalyst that you thought, actually, I'm gonna set up this company and sort of take that plunge? Because I think a lot of people have a lot of ideas and there's a lot of innovation at the moment. And to be honest, in certain parts of the north, we could do with more innovation. Because the number of founders is actually not as high as, you know, certain other parts of the country. But yeah, what was your sort of thought process at that time, and what was going on in your world that sort of led you to start RDS?
Well, at that point, you know, from leaving, where I was working for another consultancy at Microsoft, from leaving there through to 2015, I was doing a lot of contract work. I was an associate, you know, so I was like dotting around and getting involved with some really cool projects, and I learned, you know, continuing to learn a lot. But it was just myself, and I just felt like I had a little bit more to offer. You know, the projects that I was going into, I was adding, you know, different variations and levels of value, based on, you know, as I mentioned before, the experiences that I'd picked up in an earlier part of my career. And I just felt like I just had a little bit more to offer than just being a contractor. You know, I wanted to build something, you know, as a bit of a legacy, if you want. You know, again, you know, I've got a daughter, you know, and I wanted to, you know, just be an inspiration to her, you know, when she got a little bit older, so she can actually see that, you know, if you want to apply yourself to something, you know, you apply your mind to it, then, you know, you can achieve. So, you know, those are all things that was going through my mind. And I spoke to an ex-colleague of mine, and, you know, I said, you know, do you fancy having a go? You know, we'll build something ourselves. You know, he had some really valuable experiences, which was different to mine. So I thought a little bit of collaboration. You know, we could do something together. Sadly, that guy decided not to, but he did make an introduction to Alistair, who is now my business partner and co-founder. And, you know, we sat down and said, look, this is my idea, this is my thoughts. You know, he expressed his, and we were very, very much aligned. So, you know, we said, well, let's give this a go. And we started out with one goal in mind for our first year, and that was to avoid becoming a statistic. And, you know, just survive the year and see how we went.
Yeah.
And we ended up extremely successful in that first year. I think we had something like 12 permanent members of the team, and we finished on a turnover, I think it was £1.2 million, which was great. You know, it was such an amazing achievement compared to our goal, which was to turn over 250,000. So it was a really, really positive start to our journey.
Good. And yeah, it's a very positive start to the journey there. What do you attribute that to, would you say, in those, you know, early days in the first year, as to how you were so successful? Because that is, I would say, you know, ahead of the curve.
Yeah, I think there was a little bit of fortune in there. We had some quite strong contacts of people that we'd done work with in the past. I'd delivered with on different projects and programs, and they basically had opportunities, requirements that we could fulfill. I think obviously, like I said, that side of it is one. I think there was a massive element of fear as well, which drove us to make sure that we were doing the right things. We were taking opportunities. We were, and again, where we were bringing in people, we were very, very cautious about who we brought in. Some people were known to us, some weren't. So we were quite selective as part of the recruitment process as well. And we were flexible, with that particular one of our particular customers. The requirement was slightly outside of what we did, so we helped them. Alistair's background is in recruitment. So we were able to spread our wings a little bit wider than just purely software testing. So yeah, I mean, I think it's a combination of a number of things, flexibility, a little bit of fear, and a little bit of fortune all mixed in, and a willingness to take risks. That's something that we still use today. If we get to a point where we need to make a decision, it's a case of, let's just roll the dice. So long as we've done a little bit of due diligence and we understand the risks, then sometimes it's just about, just taking that plunge,
Yeah, absolutely. It's super interesting because, a lot of people, when they start these things, are, it's what is the right level of risk to take? Because certainly in those early days, something too risky, you could either rocket upwards or that could be it. And it's interesting to sort of know, try and get into the mind of someone that's, made these decisions and gone that way.
Yeah, I mean, there's tons of pitfalls when you're starting out, especially when you start, making that progress and you get that trajectory that you want to get onto. It's very, very easy to get carried away, and we did, a couple of times, and from a cash flow point of view, you get pinched, and then it's a case of understanding each lesson as it comes up and learning how to recognize when it may come up again, as part of your decision making process. So it is about being mindful of what's actually happening in front of you, to make sure that you're not just getting all giddy and excited. And winning business is great, but it can also be catastrophic as well if you've not got one eye on how you're handling your cash flow.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was having a conversation. There's so many moving parts to running a business like this. I was having a conversation just the other day where it was the opposite, where people will win big business and then it'll just be heads down into delivery, but nobody's got an eye on what we're going to do once this is delivered. Yeah. And then you've got the other problem where you've got a bunch of people and nothing for them to do. In essence, but I think it'd be super interesting, James, to talk through how things have changed from when you started in 2015 to modern day, and on sort of different aspects as well, including your role, but also the business. So start us off with IDS. Anyone that's not familiar, what do you guys do, and has that changed over time in terms of what you started doing to what you're known for now?
Massively. Massively, and again, I think that's part of the journey from an entrepreneurial perspective is about being able to change and the willingness to change, and accepting that you must change and grow. Otherwise, you will if you get stagnant, you'll not really kick on. You're trying to do the same thing over and over again. So it's recognizing those kind of things. But in a nutshell, 2015 we opened the doors. We were basically pure breed software testing outfit. We delivered on a bunch of programs and projects over that the years to follow. We specialize in technology and technical implementation of solutions to do software quality assurance. That means implementing automated testing, low performance. We always do, have done, and still do to a point. Some of the manual aspects of that part of the process. But it's a year on year. We've set ourselves targets, goals. We've evaluated what we've done, what went well, what the trends are, the types of projects that we're getting involved with. So we're constantly been looking to refine, what we do, and find that kind of niche specialism, if you want. And as you say, we have constantly evolved. We went more and more into the technical solution implementation side of things, and then we were doing a lot of work in and around data migration, transformation type projects. We were doing things on the quality assurance side, but then we were doing the lots of it was manual aspects of the approach. So we had this technology solution which was automated for the software quality assurance. But then when you basically look at the data that's been migrated, it was a really kind of convoluted manual, 2 screens. Does it look right on that screen? Is it the right on that screen? It just went against the grain. So we sat down and said, we can do this better. We're quite a technical focused organization. So we got some of our senior engineers together and said, how can we improve this? And one of our guys, he'd been doing something that in the banking sector, and he basically raised his hand and said, look, this is what I've been doing, and it's a bit of a kind of hybrid solution, but we took a look, and it felt like it was the right kind of thing for what we needed to be focusing on. So we created version 1.0. We made a couple of hires, some developers, some extremely talented guys come and join the team, and we created version 1.0 of our data, which was a data assurance engine. And we combined that with our automation, and we were starting to make some good progress. So basically, what our data does, our data assurance, it compares the before and after of a migration and transformation. So we basically implement some data mapping activities in there, and then we compare the transformations against the assurance of those transformations. So if something needs to be concatenated and then moved into a new system, we validate that that's actually happened, and that process is 100% automated from an execution point of view, and it looks at 100% of the data as well. So it was quite a shift change from what we were previously doing, where we were comparing screens. And that's made some quite significant impacts to a couple of projects that we've been on. But then as like anything, we've started to evolve that. Again over that period of time, it's got additional features. So we're able to do some data preparation, data quality cleansing, deduplication, as well as the actual perform the migration and transformation itself, and then to kind of support the software quality assurance side, we're able to provide test data, so obfuscation of production data, or synthetically generate some data to furnish with non-production environments, supporting development, test, training, staging environments, whatever's needed. We can provide you with some data which is not going to present any kind of sensitive information to people who shouldn't see that kind of level of information. So that's happened over 4 or 5 years, that kind of evolution. And we've gone from a pure breed software testing outfit to what we're calling ourselves as a quality integrator. So we implement quality solutions for software and data. So we can do an end-to-end kind of supporting capability for any organization that's going through a migration and transformation. We can, our approach cleans the data, it transforms and migrates the data. Then we provide the ability to assure that that data has gone through the migration transformation. And then we provide the business, business process quality assurance with our automated software assurances, and it kind of ties the whole thing together end to end. So we're helping lots of organizations with adoption of new ERP, CMS type applications as well. So and again, everything's been intentional. It's always been, looking at what we're doing, what we've been asked for, how we can make it better. So it's been quite an evolutionary kind of process, which has been interesting. It's been stressful, and it's caused blood, sweat, and tears on all parts.
Yeah, I imagine. I think the interesting bit there is, you were successful, like you say, pure breed software testing sort of and consultancy outfit in essence, and then over time you've almost productized what you were doing into iData, and then making that into more of a product offering, which has then transformed your business into what you could say is more of a product-led organization, as opposed to a consultancy or augmentation style organization that you had previously, which is an interesting sort of way of looking at it, because I think often founders have an idea of this great product and their product from day one, whereas I imagine one of the benefits of the way you guys have done it is you know that this is needed because you're literally in the organization now, and it's like, right now let's look at version 1 of this product, and then the next transformation we do, actually this bit, if we add that in, that'd be really useful, because you're getting that real life need for it.
Exactly. And that's exactly our approach. We look for the problem to be solved, and and then if we are able to solve the problem, then we apply it in either a consultancy service, or we wrap it into the product. But on the flip side, we can't solve every problem, so that's where partnerships come in, and collaboration, and that's what's key. And I think any business of our size, it's sensible to have that kind of ecosystem of those specialisms, so that you can actually support on a wider scale. And again, as I mentioned before, you're avoiding that jack of all trades. If we can fix a problem that sits inside of our capabilities, then we do. If we recognize a problem that's outside of that, then we go to our partner channel.
Yeah, absolutely. And how has your role changed over time? Because I suppose nobody trains you to be a founder, and nobody trains you to be a CTO, and those two job titles are job titles that mean very different things depending on where you are on the journey. So on day one, I imagine that's very different to what you're doing now, day to day.
Yes and no. I mean, as you can probably recognize, when you found an organization, a business, you literally roll your sleeves up and do anything and everything that's needed. But as the kind of the title CTO, was very much involved with the technical implementation and delivery side of things, and I still am to this day involved with that, but a lot less than what I used to be. We've got an amazing team of people now, who take ownership of the delivery side, which is great, and then on the tech and innovation side, we've got just as amazing team over there. So I guess my role has changed significantly. I'm sometimes I sit in meetings and got the tech team, and the running rings around me. I'm completely lost. I'm like, what? I actually don't know what's going on here, but it all makes sense, and I trust those guys, implicitly, that they're doing the right things. I understand it from a high level, and not dismissive in any which way. I am interested to know what can be done. I'll throw a couple of ideas into the ring, but it's ultimately on the tech and innovation side of things. We've got a team of exceptional people who are running that side of it. But like I said, I mean, my role has changed massively. I've always been involved with, as I said before, in everything: sales, touching on marketing, delivery, recruitment. I've touched on a lot of things over the time. But it's more now. I'm more focused around the direction of travel of the business as a whole. Looking to how we can take responsibility, basically, to put the company on the map. Do something that's interesting and will generate interest for people who want to come and work in this industry, that they might be attracted to RDS as a company to come and work for. They might be have some ideas around how we can improve what we do. They may want to move to Manchester. There's probably 24 reasons why somebody might want to come and speak to us about employment. But that's basically where my focus is how we can continually be better. Not just from a delivery point of view, but as a business, how can we contribute to the economy? What can we do that will make a difference? I think I can't remember the exact stat now, but it's something like 98% of employment comes from privately owned SMEs in any kind of major economy. And I think that statement, I can't remember the exact stat, but it's something like that, and it's a legitimate stat. I can look it up and send it to you after this. And I think that kind of puts that, and as I mentioned, as I used the word before, responsibility. I think that puts the responsibility on anybody starting a business to try and change the mindset around, I've started this business, it's going great, and I've might have me and my wife might be running it, or me and my brother or sister, or me and my best mate, whatever it might be, and really try and look at things differently, than just that cottage industry kind of approach, which is perfectly fine, by the way, and I wouldn't criticize anybody who wanted to remain there. But I think a lot of people have the ability to really stretch themselves and build something which is much greater and bigger than what they first intended. And by doing that, you open yourself up to plenty of opportunities, such as as I mentioned before, like the collaboration, that ecosystem. Building those kind of consortium type partnerships and then opening yourself up to much bigger opportunities with government-based bids and tenders and RFPs and whatever else, in terms of bigger projects. And I think that responsibility is down to anybody who starts a business to actually challenge themselves. By doing that, you are opening up opportunity for people to come and work for you as an organization. You're generating more for the economy, more taxes, etc., as well as giving people the opportunity to learn new skills, open themselves up to different opportunities, new careers, whatever it might be. And I just genuinely do believe that that's something that we should all be striving for. And and I'm not saying everybody should be striving to build a company of 300 employees and have a big city block of offices. I'm not saying that at all, but just stretch yourself a little bit. I just think the opportunity is there, and it's bigger than us all. But collectively, if we all come together, we can create something from an economy point of view that I'm not saying it fixes everything that's broken in the economy, and I'm not getting political, but certainly goes a long way towards that.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's nailed on the collaboration side, because even the government tenders nowadays are 20% has to go to an SME size or type of organization, even if you're a massive like an Accenture or a DXC or something like that. So I think I'd agree with you. All the opportunities are there. From your perspective, James, being on this journey with a co-founder, obviously it seems like you two are on the same page, because you're still both in the business. How much of that has been, a support for you in terms of having a co-founder as opposed to being a sole founder? Because the flip side is you often hear of, different people are at different parts of their journey, and after X amount of years, some people want to carry on charging on, and some people want to turn it more into a bit of a lifestyle, or they're done with the hard slog and that type of thing. And I suppose not having founders on the same page can be possibly quite detrimental to it. But what's your experience been like being a co-founder as opposed to a solo founder?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I think it has always helped. And I'm sure Alistair will say the same thing. When it comes to those decisions, I think having somebody who you can bounce ideas off is key. Me just the same as Alistair. We've both come up with some outrageous thoughts and ideas, and thankfully, some of them, that have been challenged by the other, that we've not gone down a certain path has really helped. So I do think that that having a co-founder, I think is I'm not saying it's key, but it's been key for my journey. I think if people are starting it, as a solo founder, then I think mentorship is something that is always there for those people to bounce ideas off. Something I do believe in. In terms of we don't know everything. Nobody does. We're always learning, but having the founders support has always been key for me. Sorry, the dog was just whining.
No problem. No worries at all. I was going to come on to so where are you at the moment, James, in terms of IDS and the size of the organisation as it is currently, and what's the plan moving forward?
So currently, in terms of the size, I think we've got 35 perm employees, and I think we've got around 15 associates. And we've got some really ambitious goals for this year, to get ourselves up to 80 billing consultants.
Okay.
And I say that it does seem ambitious because it's pretty much doubling what we have. But our pipeline is looking very healthy, and the way the work is actually starting to filter through now, I think it's very achievable between March 23 and March 24 that we will hit that 80 billable consultant mark. We've got a goal of a £10 million revenue this year, which again is ambitious, but based on the billing rates of those individuals and consultants, I think again is achievable. The other side of all of that is, so it's a company that kind of organic growth. I'm exploring options around mergers and acquisitions, and again, as I mentioned before, that kind of consortium type approach to come within the IDS group, and actually build out that agglomeration, if you want, within the organisation. And again, it's not just a case of just running out and saying, "Oh, that looks a good company. That looks a good company." It's being more strategic and bringing complementary businesses into the frame, into the mix, because that's where your biggest value is going to be. As I mentioned before, with some projects that we're involved with, if we can't fix something, then we go to partners. Now, my goal is to be in that position where we can fix that from within the group, and be extremely strategic in finding those perfect mergers and acquisition candidates.
Brilliant.
So yeah,
good stuff.
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be challenging, and again, I thought, I don't think everyone will see it my way, up front, and that's going to be the beauty of it. We will make those decision points as we progress.
Yeah, absolutely. And where does on your journey in RDS, or in the future if you've not already, where does external investment fit into this? Because that's often something that can really shift a company one way or the other.
Yeah, so we went through a round of funding last year, so we've done an initial raise there, and that was interesting. I genuinely, I'm smiling. I really enjoyed the process. It was really highly stressful, highly charged period, but I genuinely enjoyed it. I learned more about my business going through that than I ever did, in the previous years before that. Forced me to actually get under the hood and understand it from a financial perspective, understand the shape of things, understand what our culture looks like. Again, that's something that we're very passionate about in RDS, is to build that winning culture. That supporting innovative kind of approach to building the business. Everybody has a place, everybody has a voice, and it's something that we're not got it right yet. We're constantly trying to change things and bring that kind of thing in. But yeah, I mean, that the investment side of things, we've done that first round last year.
And was that a sort of learn as you go type situation, or did you seek sort of some external guidance to sort of guide you through that as well? Because that's sometimes a place where founders sometimes can become unstuck, because it's not something often, unless you've done the journey before, people have any experience of.
Yeah, so we had external counsel on that, which was useful. And again, they guided us through the process. That they'd done it a number of times, and we were successful, which is great. And we've got a financial backing now, and we're with Maven, and the partnership is still in early stages. It's probably 6 months, 7 months in now. But yeah, we're working together. We're learning about each other, and what levers to pull and what not to pull. And we're starting to really kind of form a bond now, which is it's exciting.
Good. It's often, I hear, similar to what you were saying about the company acquisition side of things. Anyone that invests in the company, it's even more so critical that they are, on the same page as you, because often, again, I suppose it's the same as anyone you go into any kind of partnership with, whether they're a co-founder, whether they're a company you're looking to partner with or acquire, or investors. If you're not on the same page, it often spells trouble. Just the later on in the journey you are, the bigger the ramifications could be if you get it wrong, I suppose.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, totally agree with that. And again, as I said before, I mean, it's key to recognise those points. And I mean, again, we're not going to get it right all of the time, but there are points in anybody's career, if you want, where they might want to just veer off slightly, and just that 1 degree can make such a significant impact to the business, further down the line. So it's every kind of conversation at the moment, not just at the moment, throughout the history of the company, there are certain things that you can say, and people do say, that raise a little bit of a flag, or it's key to try and address those as at the earliest point. And and it doesn't mean that somebody's wrong if they don't agree with you. It's just the path that they're choosing to follow. And you say it's just those understandings, and working through to get to a mutual kind of agreement.
Yeah, Absolutely. Well, I'll finish off with one final question, James, and this often can catch people on the spot a little bit to just think of one. But what's the best one piece of advice that you've ever received that you think may, have helped you critically as a founder, getting to where you are with IDS at the moment?
That is a tricky one. I think one was a friend of mine. I actually got introduced to him through one of my good mates. He's an Australian guy, Anthony Amos. He's no longer with us, sadly. He basically had this mantra, my day, and basically the principle of it is, you can set goals and look to the future as much as you want. Everybody's got a past and history, but it's the here and now that matters. And if you're present in every situation, then you're going to apply the best part of you. And that has always stuck with me to be present in any situation, so that you can make better decisions. You can enjoy the process. But if you're constantly looking 2 years down the line, then you're going to miss a hell of a lot. So it's just being present in every given situation is something that I do try to do as much as I possibly can. Don't get me wrong, I ain't perfect in any way, shape or form, and quite often find myself drifting off into the future and thinking big goals and what have you, which is key and it's good, but you've got to always bring yourself back to the here and now.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. And that, you can see that through your journey as well with, the way that the iData product has sort of come about and formed. You may not have come onto that if you weren't so present in the work that you were doing at the time and too busy thinking of, well, actually 3 years down the line, this is where we want to be. And, missing those opportunities day to day.
Well, that's it. If you're constantly thinking a year or two into the future, then you're never going to actually do anything now. You'll end up just being naturally procrastinating and never actually physically get your hands on the job at hand. It's great having the goals, and you can write as many goals as, I've got a board full of them. You can do that, and you can continue to be looking there, but you'll never get anything done today if you're completely distracted by your goals, if that makes sense. It's chunking those goals down to daily activities. That's what you must do.
Yeah, absolutely. This has been great, James. I just want to take the opportunity to thank you for your time. Appreciate you're an incredibly busy man. And what we'll do is post links, if it's all right with you, to your LinkedIn, IDS as well. So anyone looking to partner, anyone looking for a new role, or if anyone's just interested in what they've heard, by all means, reach out directly. But yeah, thank you again.
Well, thank you very much, Usman. It's been a pleasure. So not used to doing many of these things, so it's been a good experience. Thank you very much.
Good. Thanks a lot. And we'll cut it there in essence. But yeah, cheers, James. That was dead interesting. I think it'll cover off a section of our listeners that in that founder startup space where we haven't had much exposure. It's usually been like fairly established companies and that type of thing. But it is interesting to get your thoughts on that element, because I do often find like people think to have a startup they need to have the perfect idea and just run with it, and it never changes. And then if it doesn't work, it's like, oh shit, what do I do now?
Yeah, you just got to start with something. That's the essence of it. It's as I say. I don't know everything. I just know what things I've seen and experiences I've had. That's the only thing I can relate to, really. It's none of it's out of a book. 1